What's happening, man?
What is up, my friend? It is so good to see you after many weeks. I've talked to you but not seen you.
Yeah, I'm excited
That's
for this episode, man. I know we haven't rolled into it or anything yet. We can roll into it anytime, but I think it's going to be a very special episode. Um, I know you said you had a song from your favorite horror movie that you were going to sing for everybody. So I didn't know if you wanted to tune up before we get really going into it, or
sure. I'm more than happy to just roll right in. I mean, if everybody, are you ready?
hmm I'm more than ready. I want to hear this.
All right. Well, I have created words. Everybody knows the famous Halloween theme, of course. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. All right. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. I have taken it upon myself and come up with words that come up. I've painstakingly created many different verses and a chorus that I think is going to be
Oh,
quite well received.
I'm anticipation. Oh, look, I'm wearing Rocky Horror Picture Show too.
Oh, there you
Anticipation.
go. There you go,
Yeah.
my friend. There you
I
go.
would be really impressed if you actually did that. That would be pretty awesome.
But rolled into, had some words. It's probably some, I'm sure you probably, Jason's like, that's an old joke. I've already got words that I've created years ago. And there's many professional takes on words for the Halloween song
Yeah.
now.
I put it into a rap version, but it didn't go over very well. So
Ah. No,
I
it's a,
tried.
well, he didn't. Well, because I mean, I would say maybe it's just me, but Michael doesn't seem to have the rhyming skills that one Freddy Krueger did when he
That
guest
was
starred
good.
on the when he guest starred the Fresh Prince's Nightmare on My Street.
Hey, they got a lawsuit. That wasn't even, was that actually Robert England? I don't think it was it? Didn't they get like a lawsuit for that?
Did they really?
Yeah, I'm
See, why
pretty
don't we
sure
start?
they.
This is all good dialogue right now.
Oh, you
Good
just
evening,
roll in.
everyone, and
Yeah.
welcome to another fantastic episode of TerrorCrave. Goes without saying, we're your hosts. I'm Jason. That's Lee. Oh, they didn't fall for it. It's been
No.
so long since we've been on here. I was thinking that maybe they'd forgotten, but they do know.
Well, you
I'm
know,
Lee. You're Jason.
was very rare. You have two very handsome hosts. So,
That part is yes. You're right.
yeah.
You're right.
Let's do it. Well, I can't say that though, because we'll do a plug real quick for you and Jake, because I'd put Jake on the handsome list too. Yeah. So I wanted to do this though. I know I didn't talk to you about it before the show or anything, but why don't you tell everyone about the podcast that you do with Jake, man.
Yeah, well, we do a show that's really about comics. I've referenced on this show quite a few times that I'm a big
hmm
comic fan. Love superhero movies, all of that. Just that's my jam. Love horror movies too, but superheroes they take my heart. No, but we Jake and I talk about comics on there, superhero films. Uh, as you know, Jake's we've had him on the show before as well. He's a cosplayer, and he's been in many of your films that you've written and directed.
hmm
But he's a big cosplayer, and so we talk about a little bit of cosplay and little places that he attends, like different shows that he'll attend. And we'll show some pictures of people that he's met, and as well as have some of the people that cosplay with him on there. But yeah, just
Yeah.
talk about a lot of outside of horror genre comics and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah,
had Jake on the show. Um
yeah,
and
he's a friend of the
actually
show.
that's how you and I kind of reconnected after school, is you and Jake were doing a podcast before. And that's how we went. People probably know we went to school together, and that's how we reconnected. But no, I really enjoy what you guys are doing now with that, because it is somebody for like me who so I love Marvel stuff and DC stuff, and but
I love how you
I'm
say
not
Marvel
as
first.
well. Well, um did I just start a debate there or something, or was
No, 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 no,
that
no, no,
okay?
no, not at all, not at all.
All
It was
right.
just an observation.
I'm just
It
saying,
was,
because when I first met you guys were, you were going by the Batman and the Superman.
yeah, I
So
guess we were we? Yeah,
you were the Batman, yeah, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
So I hope I didn't offend. I'm just saying
No,
Marvel's
no,
a,
no, no,
you
no,
know,
not at
a
all.
little, and actually when I was growing up, I got more DC stuff than I did Marvel. I wasn't into Marvel as much. Spider-Man, of course, and the Hulk. I mean, come on, Iron Man here or there, but I didn't get into them as much as I did with, you had Justice League. The only thing that was really fighting against Justice League cartoon was what, like Spider-Man cartoon. They didn't have a
Yes,
lot of them back when we were growing up.
no, there wasn't a lot of Marvel. It was in the 60s actually. And I do remember them showing my age. Like I
Yeah,
remember them being repeated. Some old Fantastic Four, like old 60s or early 70s, maybe,
I
like
remember that
Fantastic
now.
Four and some Captain America. The animation's really crude. You know what I mean? But to your point, just Super Friends came on and ran for a number of years on ABC. That was like one of the ABC's prime shows. I think it ran, I might be wrong about this, at least 8 years, but maybe 10 years of Saturday morning a
Oh yeah,
run
but
on, they went through different variations. But Marvel really didn't have a strong presence until Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what
What
I mean? That's the one.
I used to watch that one. That was one show that I had to watch on Saturday mornings. And then again when it came out in syndication. But I know I always watched Super Friends, but I
Yeah,
wanted to make sure I caught Spider-Man too. And of course, then we had the live action show of the Incredible Hulk, which was
yes, which
awesome.
was no pun intended, or pun intended actually. Yeah, it was. No, it was. I loved the Incredible Hulk, man. It would have run for 4 or 5 years. Uh,
It seemed like so
Different,
many more.
and then and then that actually was such a hit for CBS. They tried to replicate it with that Spider-Man. Do you remember that the
Oh, I do.
Spider-Man?
I
They had
do.
like two. They had like, and I actually was wrong about this. I thought differently about it. It ran. It only had like movies. They were like TV movies. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And then they actually showed them again as like some type of series. But it didn't last very long. Not even a full season. I don't think. It just couldn't. You just couldn't do
I,
Spider-Man right then. You know what I mean?
no,
Even watching it then, I wasn't. I knew this wasn't Spider-Man.
no, you had to have the CG like we have now, man. You couldn't do Spider-Man with it. It wasn't bad. I watched it, but it wasn't Hulk. They didn't need to do a whole lot of everything. You notice that even now we've talked about $6 Million Man before too. You ever notice like when they go into the strong stuff, they go like slow motion. Hulk did that too. You know what I mean?
Yes, he did. You're right. Well, that's yeah, because they couldn't show him moving any faster. So to us, we had to really
Yeah,
that was the sign that
yeah.
they were doing something bigger than life at that point. You know what I mean? Or that's funny
Now he
memories.
did go by. He went by David Banner in the show, right? Wasn't it
Yes,
David Banner?
for a crazy reason. Do you know why?
Um,
Have I said this before?
no, no. Let me try to guess though. I'm going to try to guess though. I don't think my guess is going to be right, but I think it couldn't be because of Bruce Wayne. I can't. No, tell me. I can't think of.
All right. It's because they thought the name Bruce sounded feminine for whatever reason.
Really?
So, yes. So he was Bruce Banner in the comics. And this was confusing to me as a kid, too. I remember, you know what I mean? Like, or just like, I mean, I wasn't confused for days, but I remember being like, why is it David Bruce or whatever? But
Yeah.
yeah, for the television series, they thought that would sound like a feminine name for whatever reason. And, they changed it to David, but they pushed Stanley or whoever pushed. If you look at the gravestone, it says
David Bruce
David
Banner.
Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
gives that that was their little
Uh-huh.
Easter egg or shout out, the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
But they changed his name for sure to David Banner for the television show because Bruce was sounded too good, which I think is just
And his last name every week was different, but it was David Butler one time. So
that got you.
yeah,
So you're happy.
yeah.
See, at
Was
least
it
I don't
was?
think I ever heard of David Lawson thrown up in there.
You
Because
got to go back and watch every
it was
show.
always a play on the B too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
David Banyan, or like
Bishop.
you know what I mean. I think that was one that was always heard used. And for some reason, I remember that one because that was maybe it was one prominent episode where he was,
Yeah.
because there was exciting episodes of the Hulk. Most of the time, like he was fighting mob guys, or you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah. Except the Evil Hulk, which is the best one.
That's
Like
what I'm saying.
you know what I mean?
Those were the exciting, the standout episodes. The Evil Hulk, man. That
Was
was
there ever was Thor in that one time? Was he or
no
was that a movie?
Thor. Later on in the years later, and I got excited about these movies too. Years after the show had been canceled, I think it was NBC actually, so it was a different network completely. It aired on CBS. Incredible Hulk used to be part of the TV lineup, which was Incredible Hulk, Dukes of Hazzard, and Dallas. Dallas was
Dallas,
the end
yeah.
of it all. And I
Yeah.
actually hated when I heard that. Dun, 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 dun,
I
dun, dun.
know. I
Guys,
know.
I,
Every
I
once in a while
hated
they would
that.
do a 2 hour Dallas too, and you wouldn't get like they would Dukes of Hazzard was probably more popular, so they would like skip the Hulk or something like that. And then the A Team was on the other channel, right? Same night? Wasn't that on
No, no, not the
NBC?
same night. A Team came out. I don't think A Team actually was airing. For some reason, I feel like Incredible Hulk and A Team never aired at the same time. I don't feel like I might be wrong about that, but I
But
think
it
they
was on
missed
when
each other
Dukes
by
of
just a
Hazzard,
year or
right?
two. Huh?
Wasn't it on when the Dukes of Hazzard was on?
What?
The A Team?
I don't. Maybe,
Because I
but I
thought
don't feel like
somebody, my
they.
friend, a good friend from school, Kelvin Jones, you may remember him. He was in my
Yeah, I
grade.
do.
All right, so he always watched
Where's Calvin
the A
Jones?
Team. He lives in Fredericksburg, up in
Oh, really?
Fredericksburg, and yeah, he's got a couple of kids, and I believe one of them is. Oh, I don't want to say wrong. Either getting married or getting ready to have a kid. I can't remember. I just saw something the other day, but he was a real good guy.
Shout out to Calvin, man. I hadn't thought about him for
Yeah,
a while. Yeah,
yeah,
I like.
he's a good guy, man. Still
Yes.
is. I don't want to say he was. He still is. But he would watch the A Team, and I'm pretty sure that that came on the same time.
It
Maybe
definitely
not.
came
Maybe
on
it
the
was
same
just.
time. No,
Well,
I'll
maybe
tell
it
you.
was because it was on. Well, see, growing up, we got 3 channels and U, which was 20, or Universal or whatever it was at the time. What
Right.
was that? Or yeah, something like that. But we only got 2 channels at a time. So maybe I was just lazy and didn't want to go outside and turn the antenna to be able to change it to NBC. You know, that was our remote control, was me going outside to turn the antenna.
Right. Well, here's what I'll tell you, my friend. The Dukes of Hazzard definitely. Well, I can tell you this. They definitely weren't on the same night. A Team either aired on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, if I'm not mistaken. The Dukes of Hazzard was a Friday night show,
Yeah.
100% the whole time it aired. Um,
It had to have been
Dukes of
something
Hazzard
on at the
did.
same time as
did
18,
um, I'm
because I
not sure
didn't
what
watch
came on.
18
Maybe
because
was it
of the
Riptide? Was it Riptide? Maybe
MacGyver, maybe.
Guyver came on Monday nights.
Man, your
My,
memory's so much better than mine. That's what, like, what are you like a year younger? No, you're like a half a year younger. Wait, 6 months. You're gonna be like this. It was something at the same time because I couldn't. If it was Wednesday night and it was 9 o'clock, then I wouldn't have been able to watch it because I think my mom was probably watching of some show, not Dynasty, that came on at like 10 o'clock on
yeah, Dynasty was
Wednesdays.
a 10 o'clock show.
It had to have been something before that because she let us watch a couple shows we had to watch. I watched Dynasty and I watched some of Dallas. I couldn't stand Dallas. And then Knots Landing was Thursday night.
Knots Landing was a spinoff from Dallas. I
Yeah.
actually, with you, for whatever reason, I could appreciate Dynasty, and if I had to, I could
Probably
enjoy
Joan
that.
Collins. That's
Dallas.
probably what it was. Wasn't Joan
Yeah,
Collins
yeah,
with it?
Joan
Yeah.
Collins. Linda
And
Evans.
she was like,
that.
no, she was like old back then, but she was real hot, and now like she's still alive, right?
Yeah, she's still alive. Her sister Jackie Collins has passed away. Her sister Jackie Collins was that author who wrote those, women books that a lot of ladies read. You know what I mean?
Are you talking
Romantic
about
novels, I guess.
not Harlequin?
Yeah,
You remember?
I would
Was it
say maybe
Harlequin? Oh my God,
Harlequin
they were like the
romance.
50 Shades of Grey back then.
What, Jackie Collins?
Yeah, the Harlequin.
She-
Yeah, Harlequin, whatever nights or whatever.
yeah, Harlequin. But she didn't write. I don't know if she wrote those. I don't know what book she wrote, but that was her sister. But she's passed away. Joan Collins is still alive. Yeah, for whatever reason, I could deal with Dynasty. I had this. I just didn't like Dallas, and maybe it's because it meant that my two favorite shows at that time, at that age, were going off. Because all right, Dukes of Hazzard ran 79 to 85, and A-Team started in 83, so they definitely overlapped 2 years, but never aired against each other. You know what I mean?
All right. It had to have been something at
Yeah.
the same time as A-Team because I didn't get to one. Maybe I was just lazy to go turn the antenna. But did you watch like the JR thing? Who shot JR?
No, I mean I truly remember
Everybody
what was going on because
they made like a song about that.
I remember the song, but that was a huge thing. I mean, before the day of the internet. I mean, that was years before the internet. So this was like overtaking everyone. I mean, it was every magazine cover. You could get grocery stores with your mom. You just had no choice but to read magazine covers. And
Yeah.
it was just, it was just took over. Who shot JR? It was everywhere.
And then they had somebody shot Bobby. And do you remember they had a whole entire season with Bobby dead? And then the end of the season, so many people were mad about Bobby dying that why are we talking about fucking? Excuse my language. Why are we talking about that? Anyway, so what horror movies have you watched?
No, well, you got to finish what you're saying about Bobby because you're right. They did. They brought. they did bring Bobby back. It was also that whole season apparently that had.
He was in the shower. Remember?
Obsolete as she had dreamed it. Yeah, he was in the shower.
Yeah.
The finale of that season is where she woke up in bed and opened the shower. Bobby was like, "Hey," you know what I mean? And they're like, "What?"
And they had like a bunch of important stuff happen that season too. That's all I remember.
I don't know what was going on. Like, I just remember landmark moments from the show. Yeah. I really didn't like Dallas.
I think I watched some of it because maybe I didn't have anything else to do, so I'd watch a little bit of that.
Right. But no, I mean, I definitely know. And Not Standing, like I said, was a spinoff from Dallas, and that was a pretty successful show on Thursday nights.
Yeah. So
ran for number 2.
Yeah. So.
Yep. So that's the show Drake and I did.
yeah. We did a recap of the 80s shows.
Yeah, exactly. Man. To answer your question, you said what horror movies?
Yeah.
Were you going there for real, or were you just okay? What?
No, I'm ready to get off of the Dallas stuff. Yeah.
All right, we're off of the Dallas stuff, man. We're off. But let me ask you a question, Jason. And I think you already answered it actually. So, but if you, let's say if there was a you're going to the theater and it was going to be the best Batman movie that has ever come out, right? But that's theater A. Theater B, or theater A, because I don't want anything to be perceived as less than equal.
Oh, yeah.
So also theater A, but on the left.
Yeah, double. Yeah, there you go.
There is a Spider-Man movie, the best Spider-Man movie that's ever going to come out. It's just what it is, the best Batman movie is the best Spider-Man movie. You can only see one. What movie are you
Batman. Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the Michael Keaton Batman stuff. I know you didn't like it. It's not that you didn't like it, but he's probably your least favorite Batman, correct?
I would say he didn't portray Batman terribly. He was my least favorite Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if he's Batman,
well, you can't say the least favorite because then you have to get into Val Kilmer and.
I think Val Kilmer actually looked more like Bruce Wayne than Michael Keaton. And I'll say that.
Watch, I think my heart just skipped a beat.
I'm not saying the movie was better. I'll go as far as to say George Clooney looked more like, and that was the worst Batman movie ever, but they looked like Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Michael Keaton to me did not ever look like he looked like this suave playboy or that he could kick somebody's ass. You know what I mean? You look at Ben Affleck, he could pull off the suave playboy thing and just, hooking up with chicks and making a lot of money. But then he could also pull off being that badass in the alleys kicking ass. You know what I mean? That's in my opinion.
I see what you're saying.
Val Kilmer also. Michael Keaton just never looked that way to me. Just never did. I could not buy him as Bruce Wayne. If he had just been Batman, that'd be one thing. But then I didn't like his Batman either because his neck was, I didn't like the
Yeah.
Batman costumes ever really until recently. They just, he's supposed to be a smooth, agile ninja like thing, and he's never been able to move his neck. You know what I mean? It's just
Did he move
always
his neck
so.
in the cartoons, like the old
Uh,
cartoons?
yeah, I mean, no, yeah. The only reason he couldn't move his neck in
I
live
just
action is because they were had. It was the yeah. He was like
the one
yeah
piece
in the
cowl
comics,
and all that.
cartoons, everything. Yeah, the
Okay.
comics or comics, cartoons, everything. He's always done that. The movies, for some reason, just always had him in this like armor like thing. So he was always. It was just what I mean.
That's how tough he
Until
was. He didn't need to be able to turn his head. Great
until
peripheral
Batman
vision.
versus Superman. I guess
Oh
so.
yeah, yeah.
Until Batman versus Superman, though, and then they had that. Uh, to me, that's the best Batman scene
The
fighting
fight.
scene ever.
Oh yeah, that was a
Not
good fight.
Batman, not them fighting, but when he's trying to save Martha Kent. Batman is, and he goes in and takes all those thugs down, and there's like 25 of them, and he
Well, he
just
was
goes
just
in
tough.
there and wrecks shop.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Just
That's
power. I
Batman.
like that. I have to agree with you on that. I did like the power that he had, the more muscle that he had. I like the Christian Bale too. The Dark
Yeah,
Knight. I
Christian
know
Bale
that's
was
a
like
little
was
different,
great.
but
No, Dark Knight was good too. Dark Knight was all right. The Dark Knight movie itself was probably one of the best movies, even not even outside of superhero movies, just one of the best movies. It
yeah.
was really good. Heath Ledger. I mean, that was great. But
Which one's
even that, I
your
still would
favorite?
say
The
that
Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises? Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Oh my God,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What do you like better?
Well,
You're gonna say the Dark Knight Rises because
no.
you like
No.
Bane the way he talks about this.
Oh. No, I think they should have found a bigger guy to play Bane. I think, not saying he did a bad job, he did a good job, but I think they should have. I always think of Bane as maybe not as crazy big as, well, I guess maybe so, as the one that was in the Batman, the Michael. Well, who was that? George Clooney. That they had Bane in there.
Which one? Oh
Uh,
yeah. That
with
was the
that
George Clooney. That was the
with
terrible
Poison
Batman and
Ivy and
Robin.
all that. Yeah, yeah.
Batman and Robin. Bad
It's when they
movie.
put nipples on the bat suit and
Yep.
the Robin suit.
And he pulled
Yeah.
out a bad credit card at one point. It was just like, oh my God, what is happening?
Yeah.
It was like that killed Batman franchise for like 7, 8 years. You know what I mean? It
Hmm.
was like,
And then they
excuse
came
me, they
out
didn't
like,
make.
yeah, I guess the Dark Knight Rise, the Batman Begins, like totally different, going the other way or something. But
Yeah, they had to because I mean, it had just
yeah,
gone in such a crazy. I mean, that was
I
Joel
think I just
Schumacher
like
killed
the
the
Michael Keaton
franchise.
stuff because I like the horror movies, and that was a dark movie. You know what I mean?
Very dark, very gothic. Tim Burton, man. Tim
Yeah,
Burton and Tim Burton.
yeah.
I don't know if we've talked about this before, so audience bear, but it's just a quick little story about that. You probably already know it, but they went really, Batman, first one, '89. It was dark, I guess, but Batman Returns went completely. What came out in '92, went completely dark, and parents were horrified when they took their kids to the movies to see it. And it was tied in with McDonald's. McDonald's got a lot of complaints because they
Yeah,
had Happy Meals. People were just because it was. I mean,
because
it
the
wasn't rated
Penguin,
R or anything, but it was just very. Yeah, it was just very
Penguin was
dark
scary.
and just yeah. You know what I mean? And so then that's why they went completely 180 with Joel Schumacher. You know what I mean with and all of that. Because Tim Burton did the first two movies, and like I said, he went completely dark, and Warner Brothers was like, "Whoa,
That when they
this
had
doesn't
all the
fit our
neon
trying to
stuff.
sell toys type of thing, huh?"
Wasn't that when they had all the neon stuff? When which one was that? Batman?
That was
Not
Batman and
Batman.
Robin,
Okay, that's where, yeah, with
and
Robin, that's where it was a lot of like the neon, like, or black
yeah,
light type stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they did some of that even in Batman and Batman Forever, which was the Val Kilmer one where he took over.
Uh,
They even had some, yeah, there was a lot of that. It was just it was funny. I wish I should probably find a clip of it and play it. Um, my friend Richard Rutherford and I went and saw Batman Forever, and that night we came home back to my house and set up a video camera and did what did we do? We did similar to Jason. This is a precursor to what you and I are doing right now. Actually, Richard and I sat down and just recorded ourselves doing a show where we
You reviewed
reviewed
it?
Batman Forever. Oh my gosh, I really should pull that VHS tape up and
Yeah,
play.
you got to find that. We'll show it on
Yeah,
here.
that's how old it is. It's old somewhere recorded on a VHS tape. On a
Wow.
VA, I have to find it. It's
So you had the big
yeah.
camera.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
this is summer of '94.
Oh my
Gosh.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, summer of '94 we recorded a movie review. What were the movies we reviewed oh gosh. Batman Forever for sure. We did like two other ones, and I can't think of them right now to save my life, but I wish I could. Richard, if you say you watch some of these every now and then, if you're watching this, man, I
That's
hope you remember what movies we did because that was funny. But anyway, I don't know why I thought of that, but that's well, Batman Forever, Val Kilmer. Yeah,
yeah, I'm anxious to see it now. You have to find it.
it was so funny. Yep. But anyway, my friend, these guys have sat with us now for 30 minutes as we walked them through yesteryear, and we do
Yeah.
appreciate you guys for sure. I know there have been some pretty exciting things, I think, Jason, that I don't know how you feel actually. I'm curious to see how you feel about this because we're talking about recently there was a Conjuring series that was uh, HBO Max. It's going to be on HBO Max, which is going to be rebranded Max. Um, and I know you're a big fan of the name just escaped me. Warrens.
The Warrens, yeah.
Warren. You know what I mean? So, and I know you really enjoy the Conjuring movies. Just, but then also coming from a different point of view, you've also had problems with some of the way the stories are told. Right? Am I wrong about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, a little bit. I don't know if I'd say problems, but I'd say, you have to Hollywoodize it, as I call it. You have to, just like with the Annabelle, um, the real Annabelle is like, oh, she's not sitting up there anymore. I have like a one that's supposed to be like her. It's just a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But there's nothing scary about a Raggedy Ann doll, so they like made a doll and made it creepy looking, and that's and the Conjuring house was, uh, or the Conjuring where they're let me the original Conjuring. So they're out at the house um, that house is way bigger than the real house. Not to say the real Conjuring house is small, but it's not a big 2-story house and all that. So, but which, by the way, you can do paranormal investigations at. So, I'd like to put that on our bucket list, Lee. Just little things, but
These
I
movies,
understand you have to
these
change them
movies
a
actually
little
do
bit.
scare me. They're really
Well,
terrifying.
yeah,
So you expect me to go to a place where they actually occurred, my friend? I would have to
I
say.
I really want them. So here's my hope for this show: is I hope they're going to just be going over a bunch of their cases. But I think it's going to end up being. Did they name it like anything? Like, is it the Conjuring Files, or is it like just the Conjuring series? Or
Oh my goodness, I never even thought about it. Like, I think I see where you're going with this, and that would be interesting. So you're saying it's following War or Ed and uh, Judy? Am I completely off their names?
Loraine and Warren, Loraine and Ed
Lorraine,
Warren. Yeah,
Lorraine and Ed. What did I say?
yeah.
Did I say Ed? Did I get
Uh,
that right at
uh,
least? I don't even remember what I said.
no,
Anyway,
but yeah,
Ed and Lorraine Warren. You're saying it follows them almost like a Mulder and Scully, and
yes.
these guys are going out and investigating separate cases. But there's got to be also one ruse story that's happening. I would see if they did that, which you're suggesting. I don't know if that would be something
I,
that fans would
no,
be.
there's two ways that you can go with this, and the one way that because the biggest thing is most of those would be shot in like the 60s and 70s and 80s, because that's when they were doing their investigations, in 90s too, but mostly like 60, 70, 80. So you have the time period to worry about, first of all, if you film it that way, which for somebody like Cinemax or whatever that's going to do it, we don't have to worry about it. They got money. um, Another way you could do it too is, so now their son-in-law, both of those, Ed and Lorraine, have both passed, so their son-in-law is now in charge of their estate, the museum and all that, and he has all of their files. And it could always be where somebody else comes in and gets a hold of their files, the Warrens' files, and it takes place modern time. But I don't know, most of those houses, like, they couldn't go back. Well, they can go to the Conjuring house, but they couldn't go to the Amityville Horror house, somewhere like that, unless they bought it, which it was up for sale not long ago.
Right.
But I think it would be pretty. Are they going to have the same actors? That's another thing.
That's been a lot of things, right? It could be, it could, it could very well have those guys come back and continue on. And if it does, what it will do is, because they've been all in chronology, it'll be after 81. So I think part 4, the one that just came out, was like took place in 81, right? So if they continue on with what they're doing, then it's going to be after that. So it continues their story.
Yeah, but then Ed's going to die.
It could be.
Ed passed away. Ed passed away a good while ago, where Loraine just passed away about maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I hope it goes through. They could, about the actors from the movies being in it, they could get them now. If it had been 10 to 15 years ago, I don't think they would have done it, because you didn't see actors on that caliber. You had those people that you would see on TV, and then you'd see them in series, and then you had like the movie actors, and you didn't hardly see them, but now you see them in shows all the time, series all the time.
It's totally changed. It's totally changed now. I mean, one person who has yet to do anything like that would be Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? But I mean, like, people like, his female counterpart was Julia Roberts back in the 90s. As far as like those who were the two top male and female stars.
I was gonna say, when were they together? Yeah, I see.
No. You know what I mean? The top two male and female stars in the 90s through the 2000. Julia Roberts is done doing lots of television. You know what I mean? Lots of shows like that. Yeah. I think I'm only bringing that up to say that's the one guy who you haven't seen really make that transition. But to your point, outside of him, everybody else does that. There's really no.
Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson did that True Crimes TV show. Man, that was awesome.
And Matthew McConaughey's about to do.
Look at the Yellowstone people. Yeah, I mean, you have Harrison Ford was in one of the series, and you had
he's in 2 series now, all at the same time. He's done one called Shrinking, which is, if you're a fan of Ted Lasso or Scrubs, it's done by the same guy who did those 2 shows. So it's got that same vein, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The same, it's hilarious, but also has that heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how Scrubs and Ted Lasso are. It's called Shrinking, and it's good. It's got him and Jason Segel. It's pretty good.
Huh.
Jason Segel is the guy from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
Or How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. I know Jason Segel. He used to be a comedy guy too. I do like that. Yeah, but the other one, that's not as much comedy though, right?
What did I say?
This show that he's
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Is
no.
hilarious.
Yeah. I mean the series that you were just talking about.
Oh no, it's a comedy.
Oh, really?
Shrinking. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you've seen Ted Lasso or Scrubs, those are both comedies.
Yeah, I just figured maybe they skipped over because I don't know. I thought we were like on the Yellowstone thing. I was like, oh, they're gonna do like a.
Oh, you're talking about Yellowstone still?
Yeah.
Oh, are you Yellowstone? No, Jason Segel and Harrison Ford rolling that show Shrink.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought that when you said he's in another series, I was like, oh, another like Yellowstone. I was like, well, is he playing an older guy? Did they put makeup on him?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. He's doing 2 shows. My point was he's doing actually 2 TV shows that were running, that were on at the same time. That's how crazy it's got with movie stars actually working in TV now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's actually 2 shows that were running simultaneously on 2 different streaming networks.
Well, and you had Chevy Chase was on a series for a while, and then Danny DeVito, which Danny DeVito started it. Well, no, Danny DeVito started out in One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, right?
I think that was one of his first films. You were saying he started in Taxi.
Yeah, I like that show.
Yeah,
I didn't like his character that much. Yeah, he was funny, but he's more funny now if you like watch it. You know, back then, of course, I liked Lodka, and
Yeah.
then Jim. Jim was great. They were my
Oh man,
favorites.
one of my favorite scenes from Taxi. Jim has taken his driver's license test,
I just saw
and
that clip not too long ago.
he
Yeah.
says, for the audience, then, so you guys, so you know exactly where I'm going. He
Yeah.
says, I
No.
think he's talking
Well,
to
hey,
Bobby.
wait. Yeah, wait. We'll act it out. Ask me a question. Do you know what it
Okay.
was? It was the
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah,
You can ask me
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
question.
Whoa.
No, wait. We got to tell him. You're taking the test, and I'm over
Yeah,
at the counter. Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Uh, hey, what do you do at a yellow light?
Slow down.
Well, what do you do at a yellow light?
Slow down.
What do you do?
It's a
I got
great
the
clip.
drill.
Because
Yeah,
everybody else is standing there too, the
yeah.
other people, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's taking the test."
It's been a long
Yeah.
time since I've seen that, so I don't know if I did it
Oh
correctly,
no, it
but
was good.
but I love that's one of my favorite scenes from Taxi. I loved Taxi, and if you liked the same got people who did Taxi did Cheers, and even to you know what I mean. So it was like they do that workplace sitcom. You know what I mean? I thought those were both great shows. You know, Taxi, Cheers, and even
Oh
Friends.
yeah.
James Burrows did Friends also. You know what I mean? So the guy who had a hand in Taxi and Cheers and Friends, and he just those are all great
Did you
sitcoms.
watch Cheers?
I loved Cheers.
I
Loved
never really
Cheers.
got. I mean, I knew the show. That was a very big show back then, but I don't think I really got into it. And Friends, I didn't watch that back then, but that would come on. What was it? Was it Nickelodeon?
Thursday
Like
night.
late at yeah,
Oh, you mean after that Nickelodeon? Yeah.
yeah, it would come on at like 9 o'clock or something. So I used to always set the TV for the kids. Like if they got up in the morning or whatever, they could turn it on and it would be on Cartoon Network or Nickel. I think it was Nickelodeon. I can't remember one of those. But I remember I'd switch it there, and we'd
Because
be
it came
getting
on Nick
ready
at
for.
Night,
Yeah,
so it had to
that's
be
it.
Nickelodeon.
So
Yeah,
when I
because it came on
flipped it
Nick at Night
over,
after a while.
it's on. I was like, "This is the dumbest show I've ever seen." And I would just sit there and end up watching like the episode. You know what I mean? Like this is so dumb. I didn't want. My wife's like, "Well, why are you watching?" I was like, I'm just putting it on the channel." And I'd end
Right.
up watching the whole episode or something.
It was funny. I
Yeah,
don't. I mean, I love Seinfeld too. I'm a big sitcom guy. I love
I
a good.
never watched Seinfeld.
Really?
I've never seen like a whole episode. I know the show again. You know what I mean?
Oh my
And I've seen
goodness. Yeah.
clips. I know like the soup Nazi thing or whatever and stuff like that. And I know Kramer after the show went off, he kind of freaked out and when he was doing live comedy or whatever. But so I mean that's how big that show was. Is everybody knows who he was, who Seinfeld and the show and all that was, and the characters on it. The one guy that was in Jurassic Park and um, I'm talking about the with the barber saw can.
Newman.
Was that his name on the show?
Yeah. Sorry. It was. Yeah. That was the name
Okay.
of the show. Newman. Sorry. Yeah.
All
Him
right.
and Jerry had a war, a vendetta throughout the seasons. That's from the guy from the first Jurassic Park, right? That's what you said.
Yeah. Yep. That
Yeah.
was
The guy.
trying to sneak out.
Yeah. By the dinosaur. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Him. Yeah. No. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that you never saw
No.
Seinfeld. So
And like I say,
and
I've
actually,
seen clips.
but you're not a sitcom guy, are you? You're not a real
I,
situational comedy type of fella.
you saying I have no humor?
No, that's
No,
not what I'm saying. Oh, you're funny.
I love horror stuff, so I always try to find the scary stuff. And if I can't find scary, I probably move down to like action or like sci-fi type fantasy stuff
Right.
from there. And then I will move down, and I will, you know, I teased you before about it, but I watched Grey's Anatomy for I don't know, probably 8 seasons or something. You know what I mean? Even when my wife
Right.
stopped, I've like finished out one season and then didn't watch it. Which she's going back and watching them now. I called her the other night. She had one on. I was like, same stuff. And
Oh,
I
wait,
watched
is she-
what the I
Right.
watched the one with oh man, what was that one show where he just like he was a doctor, but he had like a limp and he was actually like
House.
addicted. Yes, I loved
House.
that show, man. Dude, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
I never watched House. That was a show I never saw one episode of that, but I could respect how good it was. And I could understand how good it was. What was this actor's name? Made him a star for a
Um,
while.
oh man.
And it was funny because he was really big over at Hugh Laurie. I think that's
Yeah,
his
Hugh
name.
Laurie. Yep.
Yeah, he was really big over in the UK in comedy. Funny
Really?
enough, and then got this gig over here at his house and blew up as a
And then
dramatic
he
actor.
was in Stuart Little too.
Yeah, yep, true. Comedy,
Um,
making the comedy.
oh, he was going to heal you. Every show he would heal the person, but he would make them feel like crap first. Like really talk
Right.
down to them and make you feel dumb. Like, why didn't you figure this out? Like, well, I don't know. It was crazy. Um, anyway, so I guess that circled back around to so the stars from The Conjuring may actually
Oh
be
my
in
gosh, yep.
the Conjuring because the big
Yes.
actors that okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's was our whole purpose of saying that is, yeah, no, it's very possible those guys will be on the show. I mean, they could be on the, they could even be on the show and not be the main stars, kind of like an Annabelle, the third
Sure.
Annabelle movie, where
Yeah.
they were there, but not the main characters. You know what I mean? They were supporting really, sort of at the beginning and the end.
They
They
could
could do
come in
something like
and
with that too, you know.
sure, like to be the
Um,
one that's sending them out. You know what I mean? To send out this new group of people. You know, it could be something like that too. The ones that weren't as popular, but were still like a good story that they could sell for a series type thing. Maybe not good enough to make a movie out of, but they could make like a 45-minute show.
Right. Which, speaking of which, I didn't realize that the House of Connecticut, or whatever it's called, the Haunting of Connecticut, um, was a Warren. Maybe we might have talked about this before, so forgive me, but that's a Warren case.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
And so, and
But
that, I think I've said it before too, that they touched on it one time, just a little bit, the Amityville Horror House, which that's probably all they really should do because they weren't involved that much with the Amityville Horror House. Like they only
right,
went there a couple times, but I would, I mean, they put the Hollywood spin on it, or Hollywoodize it as we call it. So they actually could do an episode or a full movie on the Amityville Horror House and just stretch it out. That had a couple of other mediums there and some other people, the news people were there. So they could make a movie out of that, show a little backstory of the other mediums that were there. You know what I mean? Whether they were
right,
real or fake or whatever. I don't know. Back then it was a couple of mediums, so they may have been real mediums. I know, like now, I've said this to you and other people that one thing I don't like about paranormal investigations, because I used to do them all the time, and I've kind of like gotten out of them now. Because for one thing, if you don't find something at somebody's house, they get mad at you. You know what I mean? But I'm skeptical, but I'm a skeptical believer because I've seen stuff. But if you don't find something, then they'll get upset with you. And then you
right,
have another group come in behind you and say they found stuff, and you're like, well, the other group didn't find anything. Well, it's because this other group that's come in after us is making stuff up. You know what I
right.
mean? That's all it is to it. Um, but also, every paranormal group now has a medium or a sensitive. Like they just came out of the woodworks that all of a sudden everybody can sense spirits or see spirits or talk to them. And
Right.
that just, it's a turnoff to me. It makes it, it just puts this fakeness to the whole um, industry, I guess. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
really about making ratings and stuff. I had a company one time that wanted me to send them stuff from my paranormal group, shameless plug, Wayward Soul Searchers. And uh, and I thought about it, but I was like, well, they want to do like a series, and what that series was actually, and I don't know if we would have even had a shot of getting it, but they were going to have a celebrity come in and do the investigation with the paranormal group. So that's what we
Oh
would have been
wow.
auditioning for. But it's one of those things that I don't want to do it for ratings. I did it out of my own personal interest, so I wasn't worried about finding a demon every episode or some man. I'm telling you, there's if I did 100 investigations, I might have found evidence at maybe 5 of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not going to fake anything for it. That's why I make movies now. I can fake stuff in that.
I feel you, man. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I am excited. Going back to the show real quick, I think it will be good. Back to this on Cinemax or not Cinemax, Max again. HBO Max being rebranded as Max. I think it's an interesting way to take the show. We actually have a part 4 that's yet to come out also, which has been recently greenlit over the past few months. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into just whatever. I don't know. Just a lot of cool.
Maybe that's where the series will spin off of that.
It very well could, So it's pretty exciting, I think. Really good stuff,
Yeah.
and I like just these days, man. Movies blend into shows, and then shows blend into movies. There's just so much in the medium right now. You know what I mean? So much good stuff. So anyway,
like The Walking Dead was going to do with Rick and Michonne. There was going to be 3 Rick movies. Remember that?
Yep.
Originally.
Yep. Now it's a 6-hour show. Which that doesn't come out. Fear the Walking Dead actually starts soon.
Yeah, that's
I think in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the end of this month or something, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, very soon. And it's going to be interesting. I think what they're doing for Fear the Walking Dead is they're going to bump it up. Like it's going to be 7 years, or I think it's 7 years have passed since when we go back to revisit these guys. And so it's going to be a huge time jump. Yeah, it's going to be a huge time jump. But they've done, and so I like what they've done because now they're going to be up to date. They're going to be right current where The Walking Dead is. Because they've always been behind ever since.
Yeah.
The show's always been behind The Walking Dead. Walking Dead did a time jump. Fear the Walking Dead stayed where it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they started like right when it was like starting, right?
Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah.
No, Fear the Walking Dead came out after the 3rd season, I think.
No, I mean like the beginning of the apocalypse.
Oh yes, the show. Yes, the show was basically it took place at the very beginning of the fall of humanity. Yes, the apocalypse. Yeah. That was the very beginning stages of it. But then I'm saying, so it already was taking place in the past then, so it was behind The Walking Dead. But then we had Morgan join, from The Walking Dead. And then when he joined it, and then it was still somehow, there was a time jump after he had left. So my point is, it's just been behind. But now, when Fear the Walking Dead comes back, it's going to be right there. And I think they're doing this so they have more access to all these players. You know what I mean? Because they've got.
So they'll all be in the same timeline.
They can come up with all kinds of. What was that?
They're going to all be in the same timeline now.
They'll all be in the same timeline, and they've got a lot of different players that they can really move around. You know what I mean? Because Fear the Walking Dead, I think this is going to be its last season, but this doesn't have to be the end of these characters. They could show up in Daryl. They could show up in Rick and Michonne. You know what I mean? They could show up
Maggie and Negan.
Maggie and Negan. Yeah, they really could. So I think I like that everybody's now there, and they could have a lot of access to these.
How do you think they're going to balance those though? So you're talking about Fear, the Maggie and Negan, the Daryl, and the Rick and Michonne. That's 4 shows. Are they going to balance them like they did before?
But Fear's going to end, so that's not going to be a problem. This is its last season. They've already announced that. So that's.
But this is just the beginning of the season, so we'll get 8 episodes now, and then 8 in the fall or whatever.
Probably, I think that's typically how they've done it, right? Or 6 or something like that. No, it's probably 8, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 8 episodes each. So.
Yeah. So I think so that's probably what we'll get this time too. To your point, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe when that ends, they'll run I think the next show up that we'll see will be the Negan and Maggie show. I think that's going to be the one that comes on first.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with any of them, really. I think they're all. I'm really anxious to see how Daryl ended up. Where's that? Is he in France?
Europe. Yeah, I think so. But real quick, go back to Negan and Maggie. They've kind of shown or kind of hinted as to why. I don't know if you saw that. Why, people are like, how are Negan and Maggie going to work together? I think her son, Herschel, is abducted.
But yeah, I saw something about that. Didn't they? He was on the train, right? The train that left. Didn't that one train that, or remember?
Oh no, the show ended. They were together. The show when Walking Dead ended, Maggie and Herschel were together.
Oh, they were.
He wasn't abducted.
That's
Yeah,
what
he
I
wasn't
don't
abducted
know why
on
I
the
was
he
thinking.
wasn't abducted on the Walking Dead show. I'm saying I think either in the beginning of this Maggie and Negan show or somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, he's going to get abducted and they have to go on the hunt again. So I'm not sure
Well,
if there's a new.
I wonder if that's going to start where they were at the end of The Walking
I
Dead.
think they'll probably. I don't know. Actually, good question.
Hmm. But they haven't
Good
said any
question.
of the other people are going to be with them. You know what I mean?
No.
Any of the other, I think they're going to stay at that one place. So,
Well, I mean, like I said, that's the cool thing is they have lots of players now that can be show up as guest stars or supporting characters down the line,
well, that's
as
cool.
long as they make it out alive from their
Yeah.
respective shows in Fear the Walking Dead.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm really waiting on those to come back out. And I did see where American Horror Story is coming back again. I didn't see anything about stories, but I saw story, which I liked American Horror Stories. I thought that was good.
Yeah, American Horror Story is coming out. They just announced, was it Kim Kardashian is
Yeah.
in the one of the starring. There's her and somebody else um, are starring in this new season.
I didn't even finish the last season. I didn't like it at all.
Really?
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to be good, but I don't know. I just didn't like it. New York City or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's going to be
Um,
better.
what is this? That was what it was called, New York City, right? Is that what she just said?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I that will come back in the fall, and I think America will probably get another season of American Horror Stories that played during the summer.
Well, it's
That's
probably got who is it? Erica Roberts. Wasn't she going to be in this season too? The upcoming season. I think I saw something about her.
Emma Roberts. Yes,
Emma
her and
Roberts.
Kim
Yeah, I'm
Kardashian.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
you're right.
Where did I get
She hasn't
Erica?
been in there for a number of. She hasn't been in there like at least for 3 or 4. I think since Rono.
Um,
No. Since Cult.
t- yeah, Colt. Well, wait.
Cult.
Wasn't she in Apocalypse? Didn't she come back with the witches
Yeah, but Apocalypse was before Cult.
before Colt? Okay, maybe
Yeah,
when Colt was the one where they started going down a little bit.
yeah.
So.
Pennywise was before Cult. Not Pennywise.
Oh,
I saw
speaking of which,
Pennywise
yeah,
stare at
there
me.
is
Yes.
It series coming out too, right?
Welcome to
Pennywise.
Derry.
Yeah, welcome
Welcome
to
to
Derry.
Derry.
That I
Yep.
really want to see that. That's another good
That's
one.
going to come out, but that's so early in the beginning stage. It's going to be a while before that comes out. It's like in The Conjuring, you know what I mean? That's going to be a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be good. I do think that'll be good also. But there is a show that's coming out here in the next few days, man, that I'm really excited about, which I really enjoyed the first season from.
Oh yeah.
You and I talked about that when it was on. I mean, and I don't even remember hearing about From or anything. I think I just saw
I don't
the
remember
I don't know
it.
what I
Yeah.
don't know why I started watching it, but it was so good. I didn't know anything about it. And I just loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm very excited about the season 2, which drops here in just a few days.
Yeah.
So
I was hooked on
haven't
that one
seen
too,
it.
man.
Yep, and also it just came out on Prime before it was on Epix.
Yeah.
More people have Prime than have Epix, so
Mhm.
which is now MGM. Epix is now MGM Plus or something.
Is that what they? Yeah, I knew two of them changed their names. Then I can't remember what they were, but yeah, I knew one of them changed over to
Yeah,
MGM
Epix.
Plus. Okay.
Yeah, that's it now.
I'm glad you reminded me of that though, because I might have
Yeah,
forgotten
it was
about them.
so good, and that comes in a few days, and I can't wait to see where they go in season 2. Hopefully, it's just as good as season 1. I love every episode.
Well, weren't they doing another season of them?
Them? No, I don't know if they were doing another season. I think that was more of like a
One-time
limited
thing.
series. Yeah,
That was really
you know
good
what I mean?
too.
It was good. That was hard to watch. That
Oh
was,
yeah, that's psychological horror.
it really was. No, that was also good. But yeah, if you haven't watched From yet, it's now on Prime. So if you've got Prime, you have access to it. Check out season 1. I don't
It's
know if
good.
season 2 will be dropping on Prime, so you might just have to watch season 1 and then have to get MGM Plus to watch season 2. But
Yeah,
it's so I don't know. I don't actually know where season 2 is going to drop. But if you haven't seen season 1,
definitely watch it. Yeah, you'll see people like used to be bombing. I didn't think it was going to be gory, but it was real gory.
And Jason, I know you have not watched it yet, but I cannot stress enough that you got to check out Yellow Jackets. I mean, dude,
I told you I started
they're-
watching it, but I was like, oh, I got to watch this because my kid was in the room, and like as soon as that show
No.
started, it's like, dang on.
Well, I'm telling you, man, season 2 started a couple weeks ago. Um, it's crazy. It is so. This is another great show, guys. This is on Showtime. It's about takes place. Half of the movie takes place in the '90s. Half of it takes place in present day. This group of, just as a refresher, this group of girls, fantastic, well polished soccer team. They were going on to win the championship somewhere, flying. Plane went down in the Rockies. They're Most of the adults have been killed. It's just them, and they're surviving in the woods. Come to find out, they survived in the woods somehow for 18 months or 2 years, and some of them made it back to present day, but some crazy stuff went down and see in the woods. So it's like we're getting flashbacks to. I love being back in the '90s, craziness in the woods too. And there's some supernatural stuff going on. There is. I don't even want to say. I just want you to watch it because there's a particular scene that is just crazy, man. When it goes down, it's just hey. But if you want to survive, you want to survive, I guess. But
So, so that's got Christina Ricci in it, Julia
it's got a lot of.
Dreyfus.
Yep. Who'd you say the second one?
Julia Dreyfus, right?
No, Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis, yeah. Wow.
Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci. Those are some of the '90s it girls, which is kind of cool because it's half of the show takes place in the '90s. It's good. It's great. You got the thrillers, mystery, a little bit of horror, supernatural stuff going on, and gore. Jason, actually.
Ooh.
So you need
I
to
gotta
check
watch
it out,
it now.
man.
Gotta
You
watch it now.
need to check it out. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So I'm in the midst of that too. So I'm really enjoying that right now.
What's that show that came on? It just came out. It was a series that came out a couple weeks ago it was a girl and her sister, and the sister ended up dying. Right?
Well, if I'm gonna watch the show, now I'll know what happened.
Oh no.
Thanks for spoiling.
No, well that's like well, yeah, sorry. I can't remember, but I think the girl was like a little bit crazy. I can't remember what it was. It was something like she was a fan, and that's kind of like what the name is, but I can't remember. We'll do it.
Swarm.
Yeah.
Swarm.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, it's Swarm. It's Swarm.
All right. I have not seen all of it yet, but I've seen the first 2 episodes. It's funny, I talked about a show I was watching with my mom, Mayor of Kingstown, I think during our last show. I think maybe I talked about that. I'm not sure. I know we've talked about it.
Yeah.
But heard this show while she was here too. We had to go to a lacrosse game or something. So she continued on. So she saw the whole thing. Have you finished it?
No. I only watched maybe the first couple of episodes also.
It's by Donald Glover. I like Donald Glover. I'm a big fan of his. He does music. He played Lando Calrissian
Loved him in Lethal Weapon.
Not reboot, but Solo. No, not Danny Glover.
I used to think it was his son for a long time. I was like, oh, his son's acting now. Like,
but his son is the lead singer from. We might have talked about this before. Living Color.
Living Color. Yeah.
Yeah, that is Danny Glover's.
Is it really?
Yeah, Cult of Personality.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I didn't know that.
Sorry, audience, I just you guys. Yeah, Cult of Personality. But no, Donald Glover. He also created that show Atlanta, which I really liked that show too. It was so weird and offbeat sometimes, and he's brought that same weirdness, almost like a David Lynch type of feel to things.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? It's just this oddness to it, and it's got that same vibe. Swarm has that same vibe. So for those who don't know, it's about this girl who I can't remember the name of the girl, but it's almost like a play off Beyonce and the Beehive. Or that's her, Beyonce's fan. You know what I mean? And so she's a huge. It's like a Beyonce like pop star that this girl's a huge fan of, but she's also psychotic.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And whenever something psychotic that she's about to do happens, she hears this buzzing, this swarm, this zzz, always rises up that she could hear or whatever. Um, but anyway, it's really the first few episodes have been really good. I thought. How far did you get? How far are you into it?
I think I just watched the first two episodes. I don't, or maybe I got into the third one but didn't finish it, and maybe I fell
Will
asleep
you
or
finish
whatever.
it?
And yeah, I'll probably go back and finish it. There's just so man, that Tubi thing is it's killing me, man. I'm finding there's so many horror movies on Tubi, and I went down through like over the past week or so. I went back and I probably watched another 5 or 6 of them, and some of them were good. Escape Room was on there, and it's not the escape room that I remember. That's one thing about Tubi is you may see the name of something, but don't you watch the trailer or read the description of what the film is, and because it may not be the same thing as what you're thinking about. Like there's what I mean, which
Yeah.
might be smart actually to name your my next film I'm gonna like name it Jurassic Park. um But there's so I watch the low budget horror films on there and try to find the good ones, kind of wean them out. Panic Room was definitely a good one. There was a hold on, I just had
Panic
that
Room.
thing. Yep, and it's not the
It's called
Panic Room
Panic
that
Room?
you. Yep, it's not the one you're
Okay.
thinking about.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, Escape Room.
Escape Room.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know if there's another movie named Escape Room, and this wasn't the same thing.
Oh, okay. I've actually been wanting to watch that movie. It's one of those friends that go out on to it's like a three couples or something
Yep,
like that, and they go out. They take one girl and keep her in a truck or somewhere, and or something like that. I don't want to say what else they do, but yeah.
it's good.
Um,
It's good.
I
You
don't want
should
to ruin
check
it.
it out.
All right.
It's
Well, I
good.
will. So that is that on Tubi?
That's on Tubi. It might be on something else, but I'm telling you, Tubi has like stuff that's all over the other ones too. They're just on
I
here with
will
maybe a
watch that
commercial or two.
tonight more than likely. I
It's
will
good.
because I have actually been wanting to watch that. That's funny you brought that up. I know exactly the movie you're talking about.
There's
Um,
another one called Dark Web, and that's a very low budget film. But I think the guy did a really good job. He's the writer director and he's the star of the show. Where he has a podcast type thing that he does on YouTube and this and that, and um, his thing is now is there are layers of the dark web, and each show now is he's going to do like an episode about what's on that level of the dark web, and what you should look for and what you should not mess around with. And he's going down through them. He gets 1, 2, and as you go farther down in the levels of the dark web, the worse they are. I've seen the dark web like probably level 1, and that's as far as I would want to see
right.
anything. And there's like terrible stuff on that level too. He did a really good job, man. He did a really good job. It does have like a little twist at the end that you can kind of see coming, but it was good. And then there's a bunch. I've been watching a bunch of the found footage things, and the only thing I can say about those is it's a coin toss when you see found footage on Tubi. It might be good, it might not be. So just check it out. You can't really go by the trailer too often because the trailer usually looks really good anyway.
Right.
But there's a bunch of those on there. But as far as movies go, the next thing I'm going to go to the theater to watch, I'm definitely going to go check out Evil Dead Rising, and that's coming out very soon.
Yep.
Are you going to rush to the theater to see that one, Lee?
You'll be surprised to know that I actually did see the last Walking Dead, or not Walking Dead, Evil Dead that came out in 2013, I think. I actually did see that one in the theater all by
Wow.
myself.
Really?
Yep, yeah, and I was terrified because
I
that
bet.
one was really dark and scary.
Mhm.
I thought that was. I haven't not watched it since actually.
Oh, I love it. I've watched it a bunch.
That night I had a hard time sleeping. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that one was really good, but it's really scary. Like really, they did a good job of remake on that.
Well,
Which I was
this one
surprised
so
I
far is
didn't
getting
launch
good
another
reviews.
franchise. Huh?
This one so far is getting really good reviews. So
Yeah, it does. It does look good. It's definitely more in the vein of this last one that came out, being so dark. It doesn't have that, because if you remember even all those other ones, Sam Raimi had a lot of comedy, dark comedy, but it had comedy and humor. You know,
Yeah.
100%. It was there. These are far removed. Don't have really anything like that in there. You know what I mean? And they
I
said the
always,
setting for this new one does a good job of taking it out of the woods, because usually the cabin in the woods is where they
yeah.
typically are. But this new one does a good job of the New York setting does it. It's
Well,
an interesting place for it.
I'm so curious to find out how they got the Necronomicon at the building. You know, I'm sure it's going to be some kind of like real quick little simple thing. They're going to explain how the book got there or whatever. Or maybe it's just
Because they find it in a vault, right?
somewhere
Underneath
down
the,
in,
like some earthquake happens and then the vault unleashes the vault or something like that. Some weirdness like that, I think is how it comes
yeah.
out. But if you, to your point, how who put it there? An old bank vault or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know what you're talking with the comedy part of the first one was had funny parts, but then part two came along, which to me was almost just like a
Remake of it.
yeah, yeah. And then Army of
Part one.
Darkness was just crazy stuff going on there, and that's Bruce Campbell is
And
just
did you
awesome.
like Army of Darkness?
I loved it, man. And that's like a horror movie that you can kind of show your younger kids because it's not real scary. There's a couple of words in there you got to know when to whatever, but it is one where it's not, you know, that's just like a little bit darker version of The Wizard of Oz,
Right.
which brings up another movie that's supposed to be coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gale. Yep. That one looks more on the low budget end as well. Almost like a. Did you watch that trailer I sent you?
I did. It kind of looks sci-fi-ish or something like that to me.
Yeah.
Like the last Jeepers Creepers Reborn or whatever.
Right. Yeah. It has that same vibe. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Have
no,
you?
man.
When
Some
does
really
that poo? When does Pooh come out? You know,
that's been out in
it's out
theaters. I don't know
now.
what.
No, I mean like on
Oh,
whatever
digital.
Stars or Peacock.
Well, I
It's
don't
probably
know.
gonna be Peacock.
Should be popping up soon. I don't know where it would pop up, but it should be soon though. You know, I got that one got terrible reviews
I
and
know.
yeah, like bad. But you know, hey, it probably still has something fun that we could find in it. You know.
Well, it's a giant stuffed animals. I guess I don't know. I don't know what it's a. I mean, I know what it's about, but I don't know the whole
Yeah.
storyline. So, I'm sure we'll watch it though. And
Yep. For
so,
sure. Well, cool, my friend. I think we've this has been a good show. I hope you guys
yeah,
have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
yeah,
We've taken
it
you
was a good
guys through
show.
many different valleys of different genres, different time periods.
80s, 90s,
We took
the
you to
aughts.
some adult soap operas, Dallas, Dynasty,
Yeah, ones that
all the
we would
way
have
to
never
Saturday
told
morning
anybody about before.
television.
Yeah, all over the place. Yeah, good show though,
Yes, we
Lee.
did. Yeah, man. Well, cool. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us as always. And we appreciate you guys. We can see you've been watching. Our views are going up, so we definitely appreciate that. Keep telling your friends about us. Hit that like and subscribe button. Share us, share us, share us. And yeah, thanks again for joining us, Jason.
It's a good show.
Anything
Ominous
else?
comes out very soon.
Ominous does come out very soon, guys, and we're very excited to show that to you as well.
Yeah, man.
Another fantastic job done by, proud to say, my friend and our writer and director, Jason Butler.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Chris Parrish, who is going to be a guest on the show, one of the upcoming shows. We've talked to him about that. So,
Yeah, we've actually got a couple cool guests coming on, but definitely our first one up will be Chris. You guys
yeah,
have seen him. He's always the man in the truck.
get ready for the conspiracy theory. Yeah, he's always the guy lurking around in the back. What are y'all doing here? Yeah, that's him.
I know. We love you, Chris, and we can't wait to have you on. Cool.
Yeah, man.
All right, Jason. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, Lee.
Later, guys.
Later.